Hey everyone, Charting Man Dan from ChartGuys.com. You know, behind every single video that we put out every single day, there's a wonderful community of traders that we want to invite you to be a part of. Try the free 7-day trial and gain access to our live market broadcasts every morning and afternoon, interact with hundreds of like-minded traders, or take part in one of our dedicated chat rooms, each led by an analyst that's there to answer your questions in real time. Our trial is risk-free with absolutely no commitment or credit card required to experience the TCG community. For those looking for a head start in technical analysis, check out our entries and exits course in the link below in the description. Get up to speed with the fundamentals of TCG technical analysis and experience over 5 hours of great community-driven trading education. Hello everyone, checking in on WEED, APH, ACB, EMC, FIRE, and HMMJ daily weekly time frames. Heading into the new week here, heading into Q3, we had the reaction to weed earnings, and it was a bit of a disappointment. We saw the gap down, and looks like they missed their numbers just a bit. No big deal for longs, but in the short term, that did lead to some downside. So a lot of this run-up was that being priced in. We see more bullish action on this ticker than we do on the other names, which tells me that people were getting in anticipation, which is how we had that sell the news kind of event here. So what we have is an established support of 781, 780, and 782. So very clearly 780 is our short-term support. The volume is dropping off as we see a very tight range. We're holding the middle Bollinger Band support on a back test, but we do need to be cautious. If we break 780, we are looking down at the next support. I'm looking at 741. If we see a bullish break of this pattern, look where we're bouncing between. We've got the 50-day resistance we've rejected from twice. The middle Bollinger Band we bounced off of pretty much 4 times here, and those levels are converging. So Monday or Tuesday, actually we don't trade Monday in Canada, so Tuesday we will be watching for these levels to continue converging, and we will close clearly above or below them, I would say by mid next week. Maybe with the holiday, it'll be later next week. Either way, watch for a close above or below these moving averages. If we get a break of 831, we're instantly looking back up at 881, that recent high, and we'll have a new higher low established. This is a potential little bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern. Hasn't really developed enough yet at this point, but it would be left shoulder, and then the head, and then a right shoulder, and the neckline breaking would pretty much be that 780 level. Not really clear how that stands out, but just what I'm watching for is where are the bulls going to form their new higher low of support, and we'll see if we can head back up towards that 881 level. The weekly time frame not doing what I need it to do to be looking long at this point. So it has made a nice little bounce from the lows, but we're not really seeing strong follow through. And in the videos that I've been making, this is where the scenario where we have to form a higher low comes into play, because we bounce right off the lows, and we're not going to change any trend or bouncing right off those lows. We have to bounce, continue the lower high pattern, pull back, form a higher low, and then see a higher high for that continuation. So if we do see a pullback and a break of 780, it's not game over. We're still always watching 658 support, and it is still possible for the bulls to form a higher low compared to that level and then look to turn things around. And I would like the weekly time frame a lot more if we do have that higher low and higher high established, changing that trend, because you can see in the past 6 months, 7 or 5 months, we haven't seen anything like that. It's just been clear lower highs and lower lows, not even close to a higher low, higher high opportunity. So that is still potentially on the table, even though we are seeing a bit of weakness this most previous week. APH still weak as well, and a little bit weaker than WEED. So we have resistance at 570 and 567. So if you are looking to make a bullish entry into momentum, you're not touching anything until we break 570. If we're looking at support, we're looking down at 520 and 511. If we break 511, there goes our higher low. That would be the same as WEED losing 741, and we would have no higher low on the daily back in play. So we would be heading back down towards our recent lows. So right now, 511 is the key support, and it's a bit of an ascending triangle where you could draw a horizontal resistance line at that 570 level. We have our low, we hit it and reject it, we have our higher low, and if we hit it and reject and continue to see this range tighten, we will see a clear break of this pattern sometime in the near future. The weekly time frame is still struggling at exponential resistance, and as long as that remains the case, there is the potential chance that this is a bear flag on the weekly time frame. It's on declining volume, we're seeing a weak bounce, rejection from exponential, and it could lead to continuation to the downside. So where we are currently standing, we bounced off the 50-week support, and we're rejecting from these exponential resistances. So just like WEED is in a channel on its daily time frame with moving averages, we're in a channel here on the weekly time frame with moving averages between those two levels, and we'll update them this coming week to see them tighten even further, and we'll be watching very closely for a close either above resistance or below support to indicate short-term direction. ACB is very, very uneventful the past 2 weeks, just trading sideways with very low volume. I believe we've got earnings on ACB approaching. Always want to be checking in and see when the earnings of the companies that you are trading or investing in are occurring, and because I'm not in any of these names, I'm not up to date with all of the dates. I'm just patiently watching from the sidelines. So here on ACB, our higher low was 203. That's still intact, so we have our low, high of the bounce, higher low, lower high, and we're just trading straight across. So the range that I'm watching right now is 203 support and 221 resistance, and we'll see which breaks first. We can see the Bollinger Bands are extremely tight because of this sideways trading. Weekly time frame, same thing, not doing anything for me in terms of changing this trend. The bears are very much in control as we reject from exponential resistance and continue to see weakness after losing the higher low pattern. I don't like this weekly chart at all, and granted it's on limited information compared to the others, but just it's a long way to go to change this weekly trend compared to WEED and APH, which could do it much easier. EMC, another one that I'm not going anywhere near. There is a lack of support due to the new all-time lows that we are hitting. Support is down here at 16, make that 152, the lowest price we've seen. We bounced off of 153, so it's currently a double bottom, but the bulls don't even have enough strength to get over the daily exponential resistances. We're just grinding them to the downside. Another weak bounce attempt, another pullback, and really nothing going for these bulls at this point. We'll be watching the middle Bollinger Band on the daily just because that has rejected the last 3-5 attempts to get over it, and that's going to be in play as it continues to drop down. So 152 is a must-hold level. Otherwise, we're looking at this middle Bollinger Band resistance, and we'll see which breaks first. Weekly time frame for EMC, you can see the lack of bulls anywhere in sight. It has been a brutal year, and we are just looking for things to turn around. We are battling to hold these moving average supports. We just lost the 100-week moving average support for the first time since we began trading. So there are a lot of bearish indications here and not very many bullish indications. So being very, very patient if you're looking for an entry in EMC. FIRE, sell the news event as expected, and we need to just, if you're long in this name, it's no biggie, but if you were looking to sell the news and make a profit on a quick pop, we need to understand that if an event is known by the market and everybody is anticipating this event, it does not go up in price. It gets priced in beforehand because everybody knows, and anybody that would be buying that news has already bought in, anticipating that the news is coming. So that is why we get the sell the news reaction. The only time we're going to run and show a lot of strength on news is when it is something unknown that comes out that nobody in the market has anticipated, and we see buying pressure due to that. So here we have weakness, a close, a break of support, the lowest price we've seen since listed here on the Venture Exchange. We got a close at the low of the day on Friday. So I'm looking at 122 and 119 support. And after those levels, we're looking down really just in 5-cent increments down towards $1 psychological support. So on the weekly time frame, again, not much information. We can look at SPRWF to get a little bit more weekly. So you can see a bounce attempt, rejection from exponentials. We're looking down at support of 89 cents. If we break here, 92 cents and 89 cents, still weakness, no sign of the bulls on the longer term weekly time frame. HMMJ is giving back its bounce. We are filling a gap here at 844 that has now filled. We do have a higher low. 830 is still intact. If we break 830, we're looking down at 821, and in order for the bulls to turn things around, we have to break 898. So recent little trading history here as well, but we can see we haven't put 2 green weeks together. Same exact pattern as we saw back here that led to lower lows. So I am not ready to go bullish in this space yet. I'm watching patiently. There is still money to be had in the cryptocurrency space. I am slowly cashing out there, but again, still opportunity, so I am leaving a nice chunk in that space for now and just patiently waiting. Again, I do anticipate fall to be a good time to be looking into this sector. I am anticipating the correlation with the U.S. sector in terms of the seasonality that I've been watching for 6 years. I do anticipate that's going to play out, especially for HMMJ because it's a third U.S. tickers. So if the U.S. tickers get that little fall run, even if the Canadian tickers don't do much of that, we will still see upside in HMMJ. So the closer we get to the end of the summer, the more I'm going to sharpen my focus and be looking for an entry. And until then, just patiently watching the weekly time frames. No signs yet. I appreciate you watching, and we'll check back in soon.